The stage is set for the rematch. Game one goes tonight. Florida Panthers at the Edmonton Oilers for game one of the Stanley Cup Finals. We are here on PuckTime to break down the entire series. You guys can catch us every single game day breaking down this series. Props, sides, totals, team totals, whatever it might be. You've got myself, Andrew McInnis, and Carmine Bianco here to break things down. Of course, all of our best bets and favorite picks over at WagerTalk.com. Carm, nobody likes the break. Nobody likes the pause as far as the games are concerned between the series, but I'm not going to lie to you. It kind of built some excitement for me. I missed hockey. I'm ready to go, man.
It's been miserable here, man. There's like nothing to watch on TV. I've actually had to have conversations with my wife. That's how bad it is, Andrew. But we caught up on some Netflix stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Game one. There's especially north of the border here with the Edmonton Oilers being in the Cup once again. There's a lot of coverage of the Stanley Cup, which is great. These are two teams who deservedly so are in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it's a rematch of last season. So I'm really looking forward to it. I keep seeing the same graphic, Andrew, on different media sites. Social media sites, on TV, talking about Canadian stars, Andrew, that lost their first Stanley Cup to a team and then played the same team the next year and won. Wayne Gretzky back in '83, lose to the Islanders, and then beat the Islanders in '84 for his first cup. Sidney Crosby, 2008 against Johnny Detroit's Red Wings. They lose one year, they win the very next year against the same Detroit team. And now you have Connor McDavid, 2024, they lose to the Florida Panthers. Do they, is it the triple, Andrew, or they say with three strikes in bowling, the turkey? Can Connor McDavid get the turkey this year and make it three Canadian superstars and icons of hockey, all cups in their second try? It's going to be a good one, man. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how anyone could not be a hockey fan, especially when you watch the NBA. Listen, we have a series, Andrew, that is minus 110, minus 120, pretty much for. It was minus 110 both ways. I think the Oilers have taken some money in this one. Yet the NBA Finals, where a team is minus 700 to win the NBA Finals. I'm sorry, guys. For you NBA lovers out there, it's all about hockey in this one, Andrew. But
I gotta say though, Carm, we got to admit the same teams are playing each other back-to-back seasons. I'm the same guy that always says about how the NHL has so much parity. At the end of the day, I think it might be unfortunately time to admit to ourselves the NHL has parity during the regular season. You know, we could have Utah beat Vegas. We could have, the worst team in the league, beat the best team in the league. But come playoff time, it seems like, you know what, when you're making your future bets, you might as well pick one of the top four teams pre-flop. And we love hockey, don't get me wrong, but even though the NBA has that minus 500 or whatever it is in the finals, I think that Pacers-Knicks series was a bit more exciting than the Kane series or the Oilers series. I mean, we had two gentlemen sweeps, Carm, and that's what they get for the format, because these days in the NHL, the first round is more exciting than the second and third round. I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes and Panthers, if there was 1 versus 8 format, that would have been a first round series. That's kind of hard to swallow. But either way, I think I think you'd agree with me here, Carm, the two best teams in the league that we're about to talk about. Both teams, deservedly so, are in the positions that they're in right now.
Yeah, they definitely are, Andrew. And it's Florida's cup to lose, even though they are small dogs, not only in game one, but in the series. That has more to do, I think, with the fact that home ice is flipped this year. Last year, Florida had home ice. This year, the Edmonton Oilers have home ice. But that changes if the Florida Panthers win one of the first two games in Edmonton. So which Florida Panthers team shows up? The one that went to Tampa Bay, won the first 2 games in Tampa, or the one that went to Toronto and lost the first 2 games in Toronto? We're going to see what happens here. It's the same team that went to Carolina and won. We know the Panthers can win on the road. It is just, is this a different version of the Edmonton Oilers? And I'm going to throw some numbers at you, Andrew. I talked about this with Matthew Barnaby and Prez on Monday, but talking about 5-on-5, the differences between last year's Stanley Cup Finals and this year with the Edmonton Oilers is last year the Florida Panthers dominated that series 5-on-5. They scored 18 goals in the Stanley Cup Finals. Florida did across the 7 games. 14 of them were 5-on-5. 2 of them were into empty nets. They essentially did all of that. Specialty teams, the Oilers were able to shut them down, but 5-on-5, Florida was the better team. And Florida's always been known as a good 5-on-5 team. They can roll out 3-4 lines. But you look at it, Andrew, 14 goals they scored 5-on-5 on 12.09 of XG in last year's finals. So they overperformed on their XG, scoring those 14 goals. A little different this year. The Edmonton Oilers, their last 8 games, and we know how they started against the LA Kings, and we know how they started with Stuart Skinner, and we know even with Picard in there, they were allowing some goals. But their last 8 games, they've allowed only 7 total goals 5-on-5. This team is playing better defensively. They're playing extremely well in front of Stuart Skinner. And this is the difference. It reminds me of that 16-game win streak last year that they had, where if you went back and looked at the scores, they were winning a lot of games, Andrew, if you recall, 3-1, 3-0, 4-1. They weren't winning 6-5 games, which people always assume the Edmonton Oilers and Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are going to do, that they're going to vastly outscore teams and win these high-scoring games. They've proven they can win low-scoring games. You're going to have to do that to beat the Florida Panthers. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's weird because you saw what they did during the playoffs, Carmen. You're right. I mean, we haven't really seen that in the past from this Oilers team. But I'm still of the belief that I think that Florida and under and Oilers and over correlates. Do you think that the Oilers could actually win this series by winning low-scoring games? I think that would be their hope, and they have changed who they are a little bit. But you look back to, I think we can both agree this time around, we're not going to see 3-0 for any team. I don't think any team's going up 3-0. I hope not anyway. But if you look at the games that the Oilers won to get themselves back to tying the series at 3-3 last year, I know we're traveling back 365 days, but they had to score, and I think that one thing that I mentioned on our futures show, nobody's really giving, Bobrovsky enough credit, because I think that the Oilers obviously have more raw talent than the Hurricanes, right? If the Hurricanes had that many 2-on-1s that they just didn't have the talent to score on and the chances, if the Panthers give the Oilers some of the chances that they gave the Hurricanes, I think the Oilers have the ability to score goals. I'm still of the belief that this team has changed. They have the ability to win low-scoring games. They have more depth. I mean, who would have thought, Carm? I love that you bring up the special teams, because who would have thought there would ever be a day and age where we would say the Oilers are better off playing 5-on-5 hockey? Who would have ever thought that we would be saying this about the Oilers? They're pretty much power play merchants, but their penalty kill isn't great, so it's better off to play 5-on-5. I'm going to die on the hill, Carm, that I still think over and Edmonton and under and Florida is a strong correlation. I truly believe it. You look back to that Game 7 last year when it was 2-1. Florida, they won in Florida Panther fashion. We've seen them time and time again be able to attack teams. They score 1 goal, and then they score 2 more in a span of 3 or 4 minutes. That's kind of been their theme this year in the playoffs. Catch a team off guard, get them rattled a bit, and then keep scoring. But, Bobrovsky's not talked about enough on this team. Everyone hears about Kachuk and Marchand and Bennett, and the defensemen are great as well. I'm a believer, Carm. If you like Florida, you take unders in this series. Not that they can't score. I think back to those games 5 and 7 on the road against Toronto, 6-1 and 6-1, both score lines. And you think about some of the games against Carolina, they were able to put some goals up. But I do think that Edmonton's changed defensively. So I think that any game that the Edmonton Oilers lose might be a little bit more of a lower scoring game. We'll see. But that takes us to tonight, Carm, because for tonight's game, I'm rocking with the home team. Because you know what? I think Edmonton is 6-2 their last 8 home games. But we've got a Florida that's 8-2 their last 10 road games. Or they're 8-2 in the playoffs on the road. This team has done a really, really good job. But a lot of it has to do with some of the series that they've dominated. You look at the Hurricane series, obviously they won on the road there. And then you look at those 2 games I mentioned, games 5 and 7 against the Maple Leafs. Those are 2 road games that they won there. And you talked about it pre-playoffs, Carm, that this team didn't really care about home ice. We haven't seen it affect them yet. We haven't seen it affect them so far, but the Edmonton Oilers getting the last change is crucial for them. I like the Oilers tonight. I like them in the first period. I think this team is going to utilize having the last change, utilize their speed, and I think it does help having that same matchup you did last year. I think it really does. You talked about the Crosby. You talked about the Wayne Gretzky getting to face the same team you lost to. In my opinion, I think that does help a team out.
Yeah, Andrew, it definitely does. You talk about, and we talked about Florida and their ability to win on the road. It's the DNA of this team, Andrew, that is completely different. And I'm not talking about Florida here. I'm talking about the Edmonton Oilers. To a man, every single person on this team, when they go out there, has bought into, it's almost like the Florida style of hockey, which is they've bought into playing a 200-foot game, to protecting their goalie in front of the net, and keeping shots to the outside. If Stuart Skinner can't stop the shots to the outside because they're not getting those slot shots on the inside from the Florida Panthers, then the Oilers are in trouble. But if he can handle those ones and the Oilers can clean up in front of the net like they've done thus far in the playoffs, with the exception of the opening 2 games of the playoffs against the LA Kings where they were high-scoring games, then they've got a shot in this series. And, the series price is eventually a coin flip. But you look at the Oilers, since losing those opening 2 games to the LA Kings, they've only lost 2 games since, 1 to Dallas, 1 to Florida. But you can look at their last 7 games they beat, and this is to your point of the, correlating Florida in the under and maybe Edmonton in the over. I'm entirely sold on that, Andrew, because I look at it. They beat the Vegas Golden Knights 3-0. Then they beat the Vegas Golden Knights 1-0, shut them out twice. They suffer an opening loss to the Dallas Stars, but then shut them out in the next game in Dallas. Allow 1 goal in the next 2 games to the Dallas Stars, and then 6-3 in that closeout game in Dallas, where they allow 3 goals. This is a team that is playing extremely well right now. Can they carry that forward? This is why I don't like the break. The momentum, you always worry about. Momentum is a thing. Matthew Barnaby has talked about it. Momentum is a thing. You want to get back on the ice and you want to continue to play when you're running and the team is playing well. It is, you don't want 7 days off. But, with that said, we'll see. As much as I think this series could go 6 or 7 games, Andrew, it would not surprise me if either one of these teams won it in 5 games. If this was a series, and you talk about that gentleman's sweep, we could very well see it in the Stanley Cup Finals. I would love for it to go 7 games. I'll tell you that much, because Game 7 is June 20th, the day I arrive in Vegas. Would love to be in Circa in one of those booths watching the game with my buddies, celebrating my birthday later on this month. And watching Game 7. I was in Vegas last year for Game 7 between Florida and the Edmonton Oilers, and the sports book was absolutely rammed, and just a ton of Oiler jerseys in Vegas, which was quite a surprise. You would have thought they would have made the trip down to Florida, but Obviously, ticket prices were a little tougher for a Game 7, Andrew. I want to talk a prop, Andrew, because this sort of correlates with the discussion of what is different between last year's Edmonton Oilers, possibly, and this year's Edmonton Oilers is, and we talk about the DNA of this team and what they're going to have to do to get under the skin of a guy like Bobrovsky, who's a cool cucumber. We know the Florida Panthers have players like that. Matthew Tkachuk gets in front of the net. He knows he's going to get hit, and he sort of relishes it. Let's try and get this goalie off its game. Evander Kane and Corey Perry are the two guys that, as much as we're going to talk about Leon Draisaitl and we're going to talk about Connor McDavid and Evan Bouchard, Evander Kane and Corey Perry are the guys who could be the difference in this series, believe it or not. If they're able to get in front of that net, Andrew, if they're able to cause some trouble on that defense, even get them into taking a stupid penalty and unnerving Bobrovsky, that is a positive and a check mark for the Edmonton Oilers in this series. And with that said, Evander Kane, plus 120, Andrew, on over 2.5 shots. He's 5-2 his last 7 games in the playoffs, 9-6 in the playoffs overall. And he 38 shots on goal in 15 games, 76 attempts on goal. So he's had half of his shots blocked, but you always want a guy who gets a lot of shot attempts because some of them are going to get through. So over 2.5 plus 120. Thoughts on that?
He's one of the key players, I think, Carm. I'm with you. I think it's a great point by you. I think he's got to be huge. It can't just be the two-star players. It's got to be a couple other guys stepping up there, making plays. We got Hal in here, Rodriguez and Nuge assist. I mean, great price there on that one, plus 400, putting those two together. I agree, Carm. I mean, no Zach Hyman opens up shot prop avenues for other players. Hyman was shooting the ball. He was shooting the puck a lot. After a couple of games in the LA series, he really started to pick it up. And since then, he didn't really look back. It was shot volume. It was shot attempts. And even before he got injured, I think it was like 4 of his last 5 games, he went over his shot on goal number over 2.5. So somebody has to fulfill those replacements, right? Those shots on goals that Zach Hyman was getting. So I think whether it's Corey Perry, whether it's Evander Kane, whether it is Nugent Hopkins, whoever it may be, somebody has to kind of be able to fill those spots. So yeah, I agree with that. I think, look, there's 2 guys that I'm going to continue to bet. The first one is Evan Rodriguez. I mean, I'm going to continue to look at him for the fact that he is plus 110 to get a point, but he is on the first line. Number one, it shows how deep of a team the Florida Panthers are. But number 2, it shows that even though he's on the first line, they think that guys like Verhaeghe, Tkachuk, Reinhart are going to be more impactful. But you're going to give me a guy like that that's on the first line that's getting power play minutes at plus 110 to just get 1 point. That will be a consistent bet for me. You know, it's like we always joke around, Carm, during the regular season. You could put a 4th line guy with Sidney Crosby, and that guy would end up with 2 points that night. You know, I'm not saying Rodriguez belongs in the 4th line, but what I am saying is if he's getting first line minutes, if he's playing with top line players, then he's probably going to get the puck sometimes when a play is happening that ends up going into the net. That's how I feel about Corey Perry. We know what he's made of. We know what he does. And Carm, I agree with you that they have to be able to manage the aggressive play. But I also think it's important that the Edmonton Oilers don't try and buy into Florida's shenanigans. I can't think of a better word to use than shenanigans, because that's what Florida wants to do, man. Florida wants to dust it up. They're going to get physical right away. I believe that Edmonton has the more raw talent. It's just a matter of if they get off their game again. And that's why I feel it really is beneficial for them. The fact that they have played Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals already. They know what to expect. They know what Florida's going to bring to them. They know the physicality they're going to bring to play. So I feel like that makes a big difference. But from where I'm sitting right now, the plus 110 number on Rodriguez to get a point is a really good one there. Top line left winger for the Florida Panthers. And as far as the -105 number. Corey Perry, he has taken that Zach Hyman spot, first line right winger, in the middle, of course, being Connor McDavid. On the left side, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Those two guys to the left of Corey Perry are going to create plays, and I think Corey Perry, whether he scores a goal or gets an assist, he's someone that's worth looking at. Pocket surprise, 380. Don't forget about Marchand. He shows up in big games. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets a game-winning goal at some point. Speaking of Marchand, it's a great comment. We appreciate your comment. That third line has been fantastic, Carm. Eetu Luostarinen, Anton Lindell, and Marchand. That's been a really good line, that third line for the Florida Panthers. Obviously, they're here because they're deep, Carm. They're not just one good line. They have a lot of good lines on their team. And I think from a prop perspective, that's why it's good to look towards value and not just laying the chalk. We know Barkov is great. We know McDavid's great. But I think there's money to be made on other players throughout this series.
Yeah, definitely, Andrew. Our chat is absolutely bumping again today, guys. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. We really appreciate it. A ton of comments from you guys. And if you're watching on one of the other socials like the X or Instagram, do us a favor and hit that heart button and drop a comment if you guys have a question. We'll try and get to it as well too. Andrew, there's some interesting little props that I'll talk about. But if you like the Oilers in game one, there's and this one's available at DK. There's the sort of the series double, game series double, which is Oilers win game one, win the series, and that's like plus 185. So you now turn in obviously there is the one caveat to that is the Oilers win game one and then lose the series. And you missed out on winning a game one wager because you wrote out the series. Is 185 even worth it? Especially in a series against Florida. Because we know the Florida Panthers can lose a game and win a series. They lost the first two games to the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto, and it didn't faze them. They ended up winning it in 7 games, Andrew. You would think something like that in a series that is priced at about minus 120 for the Oilers, that you should be getting at least 2.5, 3 to 1 on your money, or is that too much to ask?
Yeah, I don't know if I like that enough, Carmen, to jump in on it. Those combo bets are fun, but I don't know. I think it should be a little bit better, don't you think?
I think it should be. It's going to be an interesting series. Like I said, the Oilers have to win. I think the key to this series is, and we saw the Oilers can win on the road. They did it. They did it in LA. They did it in Edmonton. They did it in Vegas. They did it in Dallas. They can win. Can they do it? And they did it in last year's Stanley Cup Finals, where they won. They did pick up wins in Florida, or wins in Florida. So they can get it done. It's just a matter of will they get it done is another thing. I think they need to win both games at home to sort of take a bit of a stranglehold on the series. And even then, I would not rule out the Florida Panthers to win to come back in this series. The Florida Panthers are never dead. This is a team that's made it to the Stanley Cup Finals the last 2 years, winning it last year, having a slew of injuries the year before against the Vegas Golden Knights, but the Knights had an unbelievable team as well too. If you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. But I would love to see a Stanley Cup parade 15 minutes from my house, Andrew. 15 minutes north of me in Newmarket, Ontario, is where Connor McDavid grew up. And that they would hold a Stanley Cup parade for him, kind of like that they did with 10 minutes from me, Jordan Binnington in 2019, I think it was. Was it 2019? St. Louis won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And Jordan Binnington, they had a big thing here for him as well too.
So, Carm, either way, we're both going to a parade, because if Marchand wins the cup, there'll be a parade 15 minutes from me now. So either way, we're both going to a parade, it seems like.
Just as an aside to think of Marchand, because the guy can get under your skin. But come on, if you get there's the Marchand on the ice, and there's the Marchand off the ice. If you see some of this guy's interviews, and you see this guy talk, and you see what he does for communities, like, how can you not like this guy? we're sort of programmed to hate or dislike people who are not on our teams on the ice playing for opponents. But what they do in communities, and when you see like this guy is just generally a happy guy off the ice, no matter what. Like he would look great in a Toronto Maple Leafs uniform, and then all of a sudden, all the Toronto guys who hated Marchand would be like, "We love Marchand." Yeah, we'll see where he goes in the off season. It's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. But this is going to be an interesting summer in the NHL. By the way, Andrew, in the 25 minutes we've been online, has Peter DeBoer been fired yet from the Dallas Stars? Because the players are, to a man, the players in Dallas are not happy with Peter DeBoer and how he handled that series against the Edmonton Oilers. So
No, they're not.
They're
not happy.
They're not. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's gone. And then we'll see what happens with Jake Ottinger, because he is not signed. He is a restricted free agent, and he would look good in a couple of uniforms, especially that red one that has the wing on it. I think it's Detroit Red Wings.
You know, one of those guys is leaving.
Johnny,
Carm.
if you're watching this show, Johnny, who would you rather have, Jake Ottinger or Ville Husso?
Yeah, exactly. One of those guys will not return. That's my freezing cold take, because I think everybody should know that that's probably the case. One of those guys is not returning, and I'm going to give you a hint. It's probably not going to be the head coach. I bet you the goalie will return. The thing is, pocket surprise 380. I want the Oilers to win. So, you know, I'm really cheering for one guy on the Panthers, but I'm cheering for a whole team when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. All right, guys. So a handful of props. We got a good stuff we're liking here. I do like the Oilers in the first period in this one. I like them to win game one here tonight. I think game two will be the one the Panthers will probably steal on the road. We'll see. I got to analyze from what I see in game one, however. But I got a big bet going tonight. 5% play in the NHL. Game one, guys. You guys can get this play for $35, or for $77, you can get 7 days of all of my plays. We got a jam-packed Canadian football slate. Yes, the CFL starts this weekend. I got a best bet 4% play up this weekend in CFL action. We're going to have all kinds of plays in that league. We got Major League Baseball. We got all kinds of stuff going on. So 5% play going tonight for 35, or 7 days of all sports, all plays for $77. And you guys know my game plan right now, protecting the bankroll. We're chipping away day by day, week by week right now. We're having another winning last 7 days, another winning last few weeks, up on 2025, up in the last month. We are slowly building the bankroll right now. But a big play tonight in the NHL. Love this bet. 7 days of plays for $77. No special promo code for tonight's 5% play. But if you want to get on board for more than a few days, use that promo code GameOn77. GameOn77. $77 for 7 days of all of my plays. I cannot wait for tonight's big 5% play in NHL action. Pumped up for the game. So looking forward to that. And shout out to Ethan. Haven't gotten to watch your CFL video yet, but it's on my to-do list today. Ethan, that means the world, man. Really appreciate you, and hopefully we can make some money this summer. Let's cash some tickets. Carm, I know you got a great deal going, not just for tonight, but for the rest of the Stanley Cup Finals. You're going to have a lot of volume, props, sides, totals, all that good stuff. What do you have going on?
Yeah, so one play up tonight. It was part of, I'm just grabbing something, Andrew, at the same time too, because I want to talk about this in a second. But one play was part of $5 customer appreciation, but at midnight I went back to the regular price. That is up. I'm going to add a couple props to that package as well too, and then it's going to be a busy week. It is World Cup qualifying going on for the next couple of weeks as well too. So there's a ton of soccer action and French Open action as well too. 7-2 with the French Open, with French Open plays thus far this tournament, and we're getting into the semifinal round. So we'll have some plays on those as well too. That 7 days for 77 is a great deal. Or if you're looking just for NHL, you can get the rest of the NHL or all of the Stanley Cup plays in one package, only $59. That's the price of two daily packages, and you'll get every single play and prop the minute it is released. You get notified of the play. $59 for the Stanley Cup Finals package. That's a great deal. Andrew, I'm glad of the way the scheduling went with the Stanley Cup Finals, and here's the reason why. It would have been miserable if it started on Thursday for me, because tomorrow I am down at a big event going on for Toronto FC. It is a corporate event where you get to food and drinks and meet the players, charitable donation for the purchasing the tickets or what have you. But I get to meet and talk with Keith Pelley. If you're wondering who Keith Pelley is, he is the president of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. I'm going to talk to him about my displeasure with our football team, which is our soccer team, for those who call it soccer, and the fact that they stink. And I am going to talk to him about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe I can get him to come on, but I want to talk to him about the Toronto Maple Leafs. If I can get a couple live clips, I will play them on Friday's show. You know me, Andrew. I don't pull any punches, buddy. This is going to be a fun evening. They might toss me out of this party, but I hopefully not. Looking forward to meeting the players. My wife is a huge Federico Bernardeschi fan, and she gets to meet him once again. We shall see. Anyways, that's it for me, Andrew.
Make sure your wife knows that you're still the most important man in that room. That's all I'm going to say. If she's going to be surrounded by these athletes, make sure she knows you're still the most important guy next to her.
I scored 4 touchdowns in high school for Polk High. I don't know if you guys, some of the older people in this chat know that reference. Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns for Polk High. But I'm looking forward to it, Andrew. The Stanley Cup Game 1 tonight is going to be absolutely electric. Let's have a really good series. I'm looking forward to it. I wish you the best of luck with your play as well, too. Guys, please hit that like button. Doesn't matter where you're watching it. Drop a comment in the comment section below. And I'll leave you with this before Andrew closes off the show. One final contest. Game 1. Who wins Game 1? Who wins the series? So there you go. That is your game series parlay to win a PuckTime shirt. That'll be the last shirt I give away on the show because I ordered 5, and I got guys like Hal and B. Bruins and Fortunat who won one. I haven't gotten his info yet, but guys who have won it, I will get them out to you on the weekend. Game 1 winner and series winner. So all you got to do is reply with one of 4 selections. Edmonton Game 1 winner, Florida win the series, Edmonton Game 1 winner, Edmonton to win the series, or Florida Game 1 winner, Edmonton to win the series, Florida Game 1, Florida series. That's it. 1 in 4 chance, 25% chance of being right, and I'll pick a winner out of all of those who get this correct.
I'm done, guys.
Andrew. Close it out.
And guys, you see the comments coming in. Make sure you do that after the show is over. So in about 40 seconds from now, make sure you do it after the show is over in the comment section. Not now, not in the live chat. We see you guys coming in. Wait till the show is over and comment that afterwards. The comments really help us out, and the likes really help us out. If you guys have supported us all year, it means a lot to Carmine. It means a lot to myself. Hit the comment section. Hit the like button, guys. Show us some love. Drop your predictions. Drop your hot takes. It really does help us out. If you want to join us for a week, that promo code, once again, Game On 77, $77 for 1 week of all of our plays. Wishing you guys all best of luck tonight if you are betting on the game. Hope you enjoy Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll see you next time right here on Puck Time.